That's a nice segue in, actually. Thank you, Sam. I can see Ben's online as well. The Harmonica UK guys really do a lot of good work for not much money. And it's fantastic to have this charity supporting the instrument because it's all about getting this thing out there. And thank you guys all for coming. I'm very, very privileged to be in front of you guys. My name is Sam Spranger. I've been playing the harmonica since I was about 12. I'm not going to tell you how old I am now because I'm much older than I look. I play in a band called the Bad Day Blues Band, which I think is written back to front on the camera angle, but you can check us out. I've released my own stuff, and I also do free lessons on YouTube for both the diatonic and our good old friend, the chromatic harmonica as well. So what I'm going to give you today is a quick introduction, and I'm probably going to ramble at you guys a little bit about some of my ideas on the diatonic harmonica. Then I'm going to give you a very sort of compressed playing exercises that you can do in your own home based on those videos that I put out there. And if I'm going too fast or if I don't cover anything, just either stop and type in a question because I can see it come up on the little board there. Yeah, or go away, look at those videose and email me. Are you okay?
Sorry, Sam, I'm going to say if people can use the chats as we've done so far, that's okay, that's far easier.
Please,
okay,
yeah, do stop me if I'm going too fast because I do have the tendency to ramble and just I normally keep my train of thought, but yeah, you might already know what I'm talking about. I wanted to ask you a few questions, which maybe I shouldn't do if we've only got this chat function. I've been racking my brains out over the past week or two since Sam invited a few people to do this thing of what is a beginner blues harmonica player? And what is a beginner harmonica player in general? How do we situate ourselves and how do we move forward on the instrument? Because if I was teaching you the guitar, which I also teach, or if I was teaching you saxophone or trumpet, we'd have the ABRSM to give me a whole bunch of teaching resources and a framework for what we should be learning. And we'd have years and years of dedicated practice to actually, you know, not on top of resources, to actually know physically what we do on the instrument. And in spite of the fact that we've got harmonica manufacturers that are 170 years old and the thing was probably being built before then, we still don't have that official recognition and that official structure in place. Do people look at harp tab? I've got about 3 exercises books upstairs that I used as a teenager to learn the harmonica. And they all show harp tab, which is, you know, writing the numbers of these holes and correlating that to a song. And they all show that in 3 different ways. We can't even agree basic tab. So in thinking about how you learn from that, I do recommend that you try some of these harp tabs. And if you're going to learn the chromatic as well, I definitely recommend that you have a go at learning how to read music, but take your time and enjoy it. And the fun thing about the diatonic is you can use your ear really easily. I'm sure you're all aware that you can instantly hear, even if somebody's playing in a different key, if somebody's playing in the low octave, somebody's playing in the middle octave, or if somebody's playing in the top octave, or what have you. You can hear that quite instantly and you can pick things up by ear. So I really would recommend picking things up by ear. I'd also recommend writing things down, making notes as you go along as I ramble at you. That's just a really, really good suggestion for your practice routines. The other thing that I would do is if I was, you know, teaching you any other instrument, the guitar, I would talk about your physical anatomy and how you play the instrument anatomically. That's often half the battle, is having a correct form. If you look at trumpet players, the way they hold the instrument outwards, the way they access their lungs. When I teach people how to play rock guitar, it's completely different in terms of how they hold the instrument and how they use their fingers and the pick, the wrist, compared to how people play Spanish guitar. And I think it's good to address these things on the harmonica. And you might think you've got your own set way, but these things are still being debated and different schools of thought are coming out as we speak. The other day, I saw a gentleman who's also plays Zeidel harmonicas, and he said, when I play, and the way you should play is that you keep your hands as still as possible and you move your head. Now, personally, I think it's absolutely the other way around. I keep my head as still as possible and I move the harmonica as much as possible. I will concede that I move my head a little bit, just perhaps through lack of discipline or just because it might make a little run easier. But when I do move my head as quickly as possible, I try and bring it back to that center point to have a fixed focus. It relates to a type of thinking, again, on the guitar with picking. There's this concept of also in tennis. Tennis fans might have heard of the concept of center court, which is that when you're playing a game of tennis, you always try and return to the middle of the court because you don't know if you're going to go left, you don't know if you're going to go right, or if you're going to have to run forward to do a smash. So if I do move my head, I always try and return to the center position and make sure it's my hands that are doing the work. I find that, you know, these hands are built for accuracy, you know, and what have you. It gives me more control over the instrument. The other reason is if you're moving your head too much, you're going to choke off your throat, and you do not want to choke off your throat when you're trying to breathe heavily, as I'm sure you know. Other things you might want to consider are, am I moving my jaw a lot? If I play a fast run like this, my head is relatively still, but my jaw is moving and my hand is rotating. It's my fingers and my wrists that are at play here. And I will say that I also personally hold the diatonic slightly differently. Most people hold it like that. I hold it more like a chromatic in that I hold it like that, and then pulling the other hand around, just give me some support there, and then pushing from side to side to give me a full angle on the instrument. I also find it gives me a little tilt on the instrument. Some people have different overbites. And again, there's contestation in the instrument of, do we keep it at a fixed angle or do we change it slightly? Howard Levy, when he was talking about overblows and bending notes, says it's perfectly fine to do that. Other people say not. So I guess what I'm trying to say by rambling at you with all this sort of stuff is that wherever you are at the instrument, and whatever your preference, whether it's moving your head or moving your hands, is please do take the time to analyze and how your body reacts to it. If you have a really, really good playing session, ask yourself, was I standing more upright? Were my lungs more engaged than they usually are? And then make a note of it, write it down. And next time you have a practice session, think, oh yeah, you know, I angled the harmonica slightly. And that really gave me some control. I like to angle it because it gives me a little bit of curvature when I'm playing on the instrument, which not a lot of people think about as well. I'm left-handed and I think it hold it the opposite way around. That's fine, that's fine. That's an interesting point because I was born ambidextrous and I was taught to do certain things on this hand and taught to do certain things. Pauline, I'm just responding to your question because it's a good question. And do what you feel is comfortable in terms of moving it. A lot of left-handeds hold it in their right hand. Some people flip it over and do that. I know a chromatic harmonica player called Steve who plays at the Ain't Nothing But the Blues Bar. Chromatic would normally hold it in your left hand, but he plays it in his right hand and he plays it upside down and again with a chromatic grip. But like I say, at least you're being mindful and you're thinking, okay, I hold it in this grip. So thank you for the question, Pauline. Any other questions at this stage that I can take? Feel free to type in the chat.
So Sam, I was going to say with it being the opposite way around, it might be more difficult when you're looking at the online tuition.
Mm.
I mean, the only person who I know who plays the harmonica upside down is Lee Sangi. But
really?
When people are doing their, you know, saying how to do things, you just got to be careful. It's like left-hand guitarists, you know, they always say, well, I can't get a Fender jazz bass with a, you know, customized or whatever. So it's just something to bear in mind anyway. Definitely.
And I am a left-handed guitarist because having this weird thing, I was taught to do everything complicated with this hand and this hand to be more directional. It's an interesting thing. Hopefully it's relatively logical because we do have this harp tab and this number system that we're using to cobble together by numbering the notes. And I'm going to call those numbers out now. I'm going to get onto the playing section of this lesson. How familiar are people with the 12-bar blues? I'm taking most of it. Most of you probably are quite familiar with it in terms of the sound. Nods of heads. Yeah. Some yes, some no. So I've sort of designed this playing session because I did want to have some sort of playing in this lesson as a sort of a bleep test. So we're going to start off with some stuff that some of you might find really, really easy, but I'm bearing in mind this is being recorded and some people might be complete beginners and first timers. And we're just going to do some rhythm exercises over that. Some of you might be way too advanced for it, but I hope you enjoy it anyway. And then we'll end with some questions in about 15, 20 minutes time. So 12-bar blues, hopefully you're familiar with it and you're familiar with what? Pam is not familiar with any blues. 2 weeks, fantastic, Pam. Well, okay, brilliant stuff. 12-bar blues, I'm hoping you're familiar with what a bar is. So in music, we count at bar 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're doing 12 of those, as the name suggests. And we've got sets of changes within that. And I'm going to break that 12 bars down into 3 sets of 4 bars. And we're going to play over those 4 bars in 3 sections. And for each of those sections, we're going to increase in difficulty. So Pam, with me, playing chords, we're going to play 2, 3, 4. And we're just going to inhale. We're going to play that system over the first. Great stuff. Who's got it? I'm going to set up a metronome so we can count ourselves in. Pam is the wife. I am Dave. Okay. Well, great to have you guys. This is our metronome, so I'm going to count you in on that. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 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 That's for you, Pam, and you other complete beginners out there. So we're going to just hit those 3 notes, 2, 3, 4 as a chord, hold it for 3 beats, 1, 2, 3, and then rest on beat 4. We're going to do that 4 times. I'm going to play it again with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. 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 Pam, you can use any key you like. I recommend starting on a C. That's what most people start on, but everything I'm teaching you is relative to any other key. So I recommend you use a C key, but it'll work on anything else, okay? So that's for you, Pam, you, Pauline, and you, Pam. And from there, if you want to work that up again, you can try using a wah-wah. So we'll try that exercise again, where we're just taking our hands like this, holding it around the harmonica, and just opening and closing in time, like this. Rest. 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 Mad Dog, I'm the metronome. You got to keep time. It's very important. You can instantly tell the people who haven't been using a metronome whenever they go into a recording session or whenever they go to an open mic, it just all falls apart when they start playing with other people. And that's that. Excuse me 1 second. Too late now. Thank you. Sorry about that. That's my girlfriend's Amazon order. Fantastic. Perfect timing. So moving on from there, if you're comfortable doing the wah, we can sit back in and people familiar with throat vibrato, we're going, you can try that over 3 beats. So, oh, excuse me. Rest. 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 Okay, hopefully that's all very straightforward. And yes, Amazon is taking over the world right now. It's ridiculous. From there, I want to go into more of a swing rhythm. So if you're comfortable with those, then keep moving. If you're not comfortable with those, then write down the next exercises that I'm teaching you, because that'll act as a guide moving forwards in your learning regime. So I'm gonna try a swing like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, comfortable doing that? We'll try that again with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great stuff. So from there, we're going to move on to single notes, and we're going to play that note as just the root note of that chord, which is the 2 draw. And I'm going to count us in. We're going to take that swing rhythm again, just go like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Sounding good? Any questions so far? Single notes? Okay, from there, next in the blues, I would emphasize the root and the 5th. The 5th of G is the 4 draw. So we're going to alternate that. So we're going to go. Yeah, indeed. Sam is recording these sessions. And like I said, my lesson series does break all this down at a slower rate. Likewise, if I'm going too fast, find what is comfortable so far and just keep playing that to yourself. But do note down what I'm doing next because, you know, in a week or two, that's going to be what you're looking at. From there, are people bending notes yet? I heard a few players bending notes as I came in. We'll look at one final rhythm pattern because I appreciate that I am going fast. One final rhythm pattern for people that can bend notes is we're going to go 2 draw and 2 draw bend, and we're going to play between that like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. I'm doing a double bend there on the 2 draw and the 2 double draw bend. And that gives us the root in the 7th. So we've gone from chords with some vibrato or chords with a little wah, getting that rhythm down, that little syncopated rhythm there. I'm just going to pause the metronome now. And we've looked at root in 5th and root in 7th, which is fantastic. So that's the first 4 bars of a 12-bar blues. Any questions so far? As Sam has said, I'm going remarkably quickly because I'm aware of the time. No questions so far? Haha, is it that annoying? It's a really good habit to just play with a metronome. Okay, fine. I'll turn the metronome down for you. How about that? I'm not going to turn this lesson into an argument as to whether or not you should play with a metronome in life. Okay, I've turned it down for you, Mad Dog. I don't want to make you go mad or anything. So let's look at the middle 4 bars of a 12-bar blues. Again, I appreciate some of you will know this, and I can give you those stages of, you know, chords with vibrato, single notes, and everything else. So during the week or before lockdown, I actually, I'm a librarian in a school, and I also teach some harmonica at the school. And you guys in the chat bar are very much reminding me of the behavior of my kids at the school at the moment. So let's go with these middle 4 bars. So I'll leave the metronome off for now, but we're going now for the Pauline and Pam that are playing chords. 3, 4, and 5 blow. Rest. Rest. And then returning to that 2, 3, 4 draw. Rest. I already feel like I'm playing out of time because I don't have a metronome, but there we go. And again, you can try that with your wah-wah. Rest. 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 And then with that syncopated rhythm, sorry, I like to have a metronome for that, so I'm going to put it back on 2, 3. So we're just playing those chords, but at that syncopated rhythm and giving it that feel. So I'll play it again for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple stuff, I'm hoping. Now looking at single notes. So looking at single notes, we're going 4 blow and then back to that 2 draw. So 2, 3, 4. Now we're looking at that root in 5th that we did before, and we're going to play that over 2 bars in C. So we're going to go 4 and 6 blow, but 2 notes of each like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was the 4 blow and the 6 blow, and then the 2 draw and the 4 draw. I'll play it again for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what was next? Next was bending notes. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. So on that 4 change, where I'm playing that 4 blow, I'm now going to do a semitone step down, bend on the 3 and play that rhythm. I'll break it down like this. It can be a little bit tricky to get the gradients of bend on the 3 draw, but if you're bending notes, then you're going to have to work up to this sort of stuff. So I'll play it again. 1, 2, 3. And then back to the 2 draw, which we've already played. So let's do that last one to a metronome. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's the middle 4 bars of a 12-bar blues. So I'm hoping that's comfortable and that you've found your place within those exercises of this is something I'm comfortable with and this is something I'm able to play. Any questions so far that are hopefully non-metronome related that I can read off the chat now? Can't see anybody typing. So I'm going to assume we're fine on that. Okay, playing the last 4 bars of a 12-bar blues. We're glad somebody's happy at least. Okay, thank you, Mad Dog. Last 4 bars in a 12-bar blues. We're going to go to the 5 chord. So that's going to be 4 draw and 5 draw. We're going to try just a double stop for you people playing chords. So not 3 holes, just 2 holes. So you might have to narrow your embouchure a little bit. Just like that. We're just going to play that for 1 bar. Then we're going to push that forward. And I'm going to push that forward to 4 and 5, blow. Rest, and then back to our original chord, 2, 3, 4, draw, inhale. Rest. So put that little run together. So 1, 2, 3. So that's for you people playing chords out there. And for people stepping up, you can add the warren. Rest. 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 This is where it gets tricky, huh? They call it the turnaround, the last 4 bars. And yeah, it's where you have to play more than 2 chords, basically. So let's break that down to our rhythms, relatively straightforward, those same chords. People comfortable with that? Anybody typing? Nods of heads. Good, thank you. Now let's break that down to single notes. So we're going to go 5 draw with that rhythm, 4 blow with that rhythm, and then the 2 draw. And I might talk a little bit at the end because we're going to have some time. I'll take your questions and we might talk about the 2 draw because that can be a little bit difficult for the beginners and whatnot. But let's try that rhythm now, syncopated on single notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so for people that are comfortable with that and that are jumping up to the 5th, we've got the 4 draw and we've got the 6 draw. I'm going to play that in 1 bar. So I'm going to go. So that's where it does get a little bit difficult. 4 draw, 6 draw, 4 blow, 6 blow. I'll play that again. And then we're going to go back to that pattern that we've already done, 2 draw and 4 draw. So I'll play it through like this slowly with you. You try that with a metronome. And that's that one. The last one, we were looking at bending notes. So we're going to do 4 draw, and we're going to do half step bend, which isn't the 7th, but it sounds very bluesy and effective. And we're going to play that rhythm pattern that we've been playing so far, just over 1 bar. So we're going to go. And then we're going to do that 4 chord pattern that we did in the last section, where we're going to go 4 blow and 3 semitone bend. So put those 2 bars together. And then we're going to return to that phrase on the 1 chord, on the 2, on the 2 and the 2 full step bend. So I'll put that together for you, and then we'll play it with a metronome. Now let's try that with a metronome. You can do like a, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing the chords, then yes, rest on beat 4. You're right, there's probably about a semitone rest on that, just as we get that sort of swing rhythm feel for you there, James. And that's it. I'm hesitant to say that we can all try putting that together and take it at your own stage. Maybe we'll try that in a sec. The reason I'm sort of showing you this stuff is so that if you're playing with other people, you've got a grounding in that you'll have some sort of rhythm pattern that you can play if you meet a guitarist. If you go to a blues jam or if you go to an open mic, you can go. You've got something that you can play with other people, or if you're a little bit more advanced, you can, or what have you. It's much better to take your stage in a rhythm and play with people than to just solo over because you only know a few notes. The thing that always strikes me is whenever I see beginners or intermediates at a blues jam and they don't sit with the band, they tend to play over the singer or they play over the guitarist. They're normally on the 4 draw, they go. And it's, you know, good for you for getting up there, but the singer's starting to give you an annoying look, and, you know, people want you to sit in with the band and then step forward. And what we're playing there with having these chords as grounding, having those root notes, those fifths, those sevenths when you bend, is the fundamentals of your soloing as well. So it means when you come to putting more complicated solos together, you've already got the grounding for that. You know where you're going to go next on a 12 bar. I appreciate this is a very basic variety of 12 bar, but everything is there and everything is self-contained. You've got those fifths that you can jump to. So like I was just playing now, if I'm playing a rhythm part, it's there for me. If I'm going to the 4 chord, that's just 2 notes, but I'm adding a rhythm to it. And I know that that's where I need to be on the harmonica when I go to that section in the song. So having those chords, thinking, okay, that's giving me notes for that part, those first 4 bars. Rest, rest. Although it might seem a little bit boring and dragging your feet through the mud and whatnot, that is the basis for what I would play in a solo or as a rhythm part at the open mic and what have you. Was it Sunshine of Your Love? I really want to go get my guitar now and play Sunshine of Your Love, but thank you. Listen, folks, any other things that I can think to talk to you? I was going to have more of an interactive question and answer, but I appreciate that you're shut down on your mics, and but in the chat you just want to talk about whether metronomes are a good idea or not. Maybe I'll say a few things, is that I know a lot of beginners often struggle with playing the chords. Mad Dog, take it slow. So when I do check out my video series on YouTube, yeah, I wish I had music that I could give you right there as well, but Zoom is new to me. Do check out my YouTube series, because I spend a whole week just going, look, chords, take your time with them, single notes. And I give you some other lessons, exercises, more than I can cram into this lesson. And it means that you work up. So over the course of a month, you'll go, and I've got more time to explain things in detail than what I'm giving you, which at the moment is just an overview.
So would you like, sorry, Sam, I'm going to say, would you like to tell everyone your YouTube channel then? Yeah,
sorry, I thought I mentioned at the beginning. It's my name, either Sam Spranger or My Broken Harp, because I thought I was being funny with my little pun there. But you can see it in my thing. Actually, I'll put it in the chat if you like. www.com. You can find my website.
And recommend is backing tracks. And because you've got, well, if you're playing blues with a C harmonica, you need a G major backing track.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to YouTube and search for Cliff Smith, look at his channel. He's got backing tracks in every key for blues, fast, medium, slow, but then it goes on to some mad jazzy stuff as well. But you know, I think Sam's right with playing along to metronome it's so valuable, because you know, timing is, you know, is one of the things that people don't get right. But playing along to a backing track, Mad Dog, might be a little bit more exciting for you.
Same on Spotify as well. I think if you type in backing tracks, you'll find some really, really good ones as well. And some of them just are really, really basic. The other thing is what all the old blues guys do, people like Sonny Terry and whatnot, is if you watch the way they stomp their feet, you might have noticed that my camera was shaking as I was teaching this. It's because I'm banging my legs about as I sit awkwardly on my couch. But yeah, they've got all sorts of rhythm patterns. Some people put their left foot on the 1 and the 1 and the 3, and their right foot on the 2 and 4. And that just gives them a really good sense of syncopation. I found the other day when I was playing chromatic, I was waving around like this, and it just really helped me just swing into time and also relax. Relaxing your body is so important. One other things that I think to talk to you about, that 2 draw can often be a little bit of a struggle for beginners. Some people prefer the 3 blow because it's the same note, but it's worth working that 2 draw in. Just keeping your tongue flat so you're not getting the bend. You can work that in later, but getting that pull really relates to your embouchure, how your lips and your lungs interact with the instrument. And it's something again, like I said, in terms of analyzing your anatomy, like I said at the beginning, it's something I'm always looking at is trumpet players. And I watched a really interesting interview with Miles Davis, where he didn't even play anything on this interview. He just went, when I hold the trumpet, I'm not going to do my Miles Davis impression, but when I hold the trumpet, everything is set and ready to go. And he just adopted this stance. And he's like, this is how you play. Okay, Miles Davis is a bazillion times cooler than I am, but what he was saying was that his diaphragm, his chest, his throat, the oral cavity that you're making there, his lips, everything is pulling or ready to push that reed with just a very, very little amount of air, but everything is working and flying together. And it is worth thinking, you know, am I playing upright? I constantly find myself bending over when I play live, and I'm saying that's a bad habit. You need to open up your lungs a little bit. And then, yeah, that 2 draw is often a big tell on whether a player's got that yet. Just getting it instantly. There's one of our songs, the rhythm is, actually I need a D harmonica, but that's a really easy riff, but it's based on that powerful 2 draw grab. Another one is, it's all pulling that too. And it's such an important root note. So yeah, any other questions, things that people want to type in the chat? I was anticipating to finish a little bit early, but questions now, or drop me an email as well. Experiment with it. I think I said earlier, some people like it. I think there's no such thing as a bad well, there are such things as bad habits, but if you're aware that you're doing it and you're choosing to do it, is it really a bad habit? I got into overblows about 3 or 4 months ago, and I can't do them unless I tilt the harmonica up a little bit. You've also got to remember, compensate for the fact that most people in the Western world have an overbite. I do like a D harmonica, see that you play an A, but you've got to practice on all of them. Even the sluggish ones like G and an A harmonica. Simon, I'll do throat vibrato in a second. Let me just answer about blues harmonica. You're here with an A harmonica compared to a C harmonica. Sorry, this guy needs to warm up. Doing those fast runs can be a little bit harder. Something like that, but it just pushes you up to the upper octave. So yeah, although lower harmonicas often feel a little bit more sluggish at first, it's good for you to work up like I'm talking about and building muscle strength to get out. So yeah, I prefer slightly higher ones because they're a little bit quicker, but play on all of them. Or if you're a complete beginner, worry about a C harmonica and get good on it, then worry about buying others and playing with others. Have the major ones like a C, a D, an A, and probably an E or an F you probably need as well. But don't worry about having things. Worry about practicing. Worry about your metronome. Okay, muscle strength and vibrato. Let's vibrato. Difference between vibrato and tremolo. Sorry, I might have made that distinction and I should have been more on my terminology. Vibrato is very subtle fluctuation in pitch. That's a vibrato. Tremolo is, that's a rapid fluctuation in volume. And you can use it rhythmically. You can use both of those things rhythmically. So tremolo, I would be going, which isn't the most loveliest of noises. I'm sure you can appreciate that, but then try not to make the sound. I never thought I'd do that in front of a video camera, but there we go. What exercise do you recommend to build up your muscle strength? Practicing. Holding notes is something that all woodwind and brass instruments would do. And I do on the chromatic as well, of just. And yeah, holding notes to a metronome is definitely a good idea. But yeah, holding long notes and just opening it up, and perhaps even going from pianissimo to fortissimo. There you go. That will really help build your strength in terms of your lungs and practicing keeping your tongue still and actually holding a bend or holding a note for a long time. Does that answer your question? Playing a note with power is an incredibly important thing. Just one note played well. You'll hear guitar players talk about it. Gary Moore spoke about it. And like I say, if you talk to woodwind players or brass players, they all will say, as well as trying to play fast and play as much as possible, we all want to be Will Wild and Jason Ritchie, right? But actually playing one note with a lot of feeling can do just as much. And I think that's worth to do. So yeah, holding notes, playing around with that note as you hold it. Tonguing the note, just. That's quite an easy one if you just want to make one note sound very, very good. And you can incorporate it with bends as well. You mean holding by drawing and or drawing? Do you mean blowing as well? Both. maybe that would have been a better 12-bar blues thing for you guys, is to hold a note, see if you can do it for 4 bars. And if you feel lightheaded, obviously stop. But so I've given you a lot in that lesson, and I did say pen and paper to write the stuff down, because I don't expect you all to be like playing all over the place in that amount of time, but write things down and think, okay, next week I'm going to have a look at this, or Sam spoke about that, I'm going to explore that aspect a little bit more. And I think I'm just about bang on.
Okay.
I think we've got
Can I just add something to what you say there, Sam, about holding the single notes? Is I think there's almost like a preconception. I'm thinking about these backing tracks. You've got a slow backing track, medium backing track, fast backing track, and sort of logic would say, well, it's far easier playing along to the slow backing track. Well, actually, it's not, because you've got a lot more space to fill.
Yeah.
If you were to go onto the fast backing track, you could do exactly what Sam says. It's just hold a note. Almost for the full 12 bars if you wanted to. So that's just a bit of a random thought, really.
I really agree with Sam. I had a sax teacher in a jazz class who said exactly the same thing. He gave us a really, really fast song to play, and we went, what do we do? And he said, if you're presented with a fast song where you've got really quick changes, play long notes. Don't try and play a bazillion times. You're not Charlie Parker. Just hit a really, really good long note. So yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Jason Ritchie's. I mean, he's my favorite player.
Me too.
But he is not playing fast all the time. There's a lot of stuff where he is playing very slowly but soulfully, and it's almost as though he thinks about every one of those slow notes, rather than if you just do a big fast run, that's all it is, isn't it? It's a whole pile of notes thrown together.
Absolutely. The thing that I always that stayed with me, actually, the first year I went to the HarmonicaUK, and I saw him earlier in the chat, Ben Bauman. Ben, if you're there, do say hi, because he gave me some advice that was just fantastic. He said, when I'm playing, thinking about 3 things: tone, tempo, which means you guys with the metronome, and groove. He's got such a focus on getting a really pure, great sound out of the harmonica, whether it's fast or slow, playing it in time, because if you're not in time, then people will know and they'll look at you and they'll start to get angry. But also playing something that fits the song, that groove is so important. And that's what my band, I think, does quite well, is that we're not always the flashiest players. We're not playing 1,000 notes. My guitarist is not Yngwie Malmsteen, and I am definitely not Jason Ritchie. But we get a really, really good groove going. And Ben, thank you for your advice. If you are watching, that, if I can impart it myself and give him the credit he deserves, that has always stuck with me in my playing and whatnot. So yeah, I hope that helps you guys out as well. Ben, don't sue me. And I'm going to stay on chat, or you can email me through my website. I'm going to post it again. And yeah, like I said, I'm always happy to help.